The video you're watching is a 360-degree capture of the walk between South Bank Pedestrian Bridge to the Gabba Stadium in July. In the first few seconds, we can identify several important perspectives which are a key focus for a successfully accessible and inclusive placemaking environment for 2032 and beyond. What we can easily see is an e-scooter rider, a cyclist, a walking elderly couple, a family with a pram, a wheelchair user with a service animal, pedestrians with dogs, and a small motorcycle. Each of these user demographics should have movement and circulation scenarios considered for placemaking projects. Effective planning, design, and development considers them all. Many of their needs are the same. They all need to share the space, they all need to feel safe, and they all need to have a clear sense of direction. A perspective of this, which is not immediately obvious, are the essential street objects which add substantial value to placemaking with measurable benefits. General waste and recycling bins placed in key intersections or thoroughfares for effective waste management. Tactile ground surface indicators, TGSIs, for visually impaired and preventative hazard reduction. City-safe CCTV cameras, barriers and bollards for community safety monitoring. General traffic and pedestrian directional signage for effective wayfinding from point A to point B in monolingual or multilingual language, suitable for international visitors and those more comfortable speaking in a language other than English. As we navigate our way out of the South Bank precinct, through the beautiful arbour, into the Gabba PDA from the Vulture Street end, we find ourselves in between spaces which require more consideration from design and planning. There is less shade outside the South Bank precinct, and more navigational issues tend to occur, such as encountering uneven, narrow or obstructed pathways, obstacles, and low or no places to sit for weary pedestrians. We all embed design thinking and best practice principles into our day-to-day workflows. Designers, architects, landscape architects and planners all have unique perspectives and add value to minor and major infrastructure or city shaping projects. As we start to walk through the two key connection corridors along Vulture Street and Stanley Street, we discover more instances where peak body collaboration presents a case for more empathic and professional coordination. In some cases like this intersection, we identify nuance in movement patterns and functionality. The different modalities between walking, cycling and driving, combined with road rules, zone ownership and ramps, presents amazing complexity that we dive into when solving problems as designers. We love the spatial and flow-on effects associated with it. Designers, planners and architects reduce hazards and increase safety. As we advance closer to 2032, and the huge impending thoroughfare and movements towards major stadia in Queensland, we could consider temporary traffic lane closures to allow pilots or trials to begin streetscape innovation. A positive environmental outcome to plant or transplant more native tree canopies in key areas could provide urban heat mitigation, reduce carbon emissions, and introduce a host of green grid actions to the area. Remember, the trees we plant today are the shade we can enjoy in 10 years. Of course, ownership boundaries and zoning controls are essential considerations. And so who invests, maintains, and is willing to relinquish land for such improvements? A private and public negotiation, or opportunity to partner scheme, could empower owners to explore existing roadside fringes and create new verges and public spaces to benefit the local community, and leave tangible legacies in multiple locations, create inner and outer ripple effects of legacy involvement. A Community Infrastructure Future Fund is one instrument for placemaking investments, and developers who have not optimised their contribution to the overall legacy plan could be reviewed by a lead design authority, assessing responsible value. This park bench seems to be the only one of its kind since beginning the walk from South Bank Parklands, and if we were to optimise spaces and journeys for pedestrians, one might expect to see more, or convenient positioning. And we might imagine spaces with smooth curved benches for seating, landmark artistic works to enhance placemaking with historical context, street lighting for safe commuting at night time, shelters for weather, and of course more trees to add a wonderful resolve to walkability in our beautiful subtropical climate. Inner city suburbs of Brisbane are not the only areas receiving legacy benefits. All regional areas with sporting venues and accommodation should have fairly distributed improvements too. Perhaps a project prioritisation scale could assist advisory. Critical projects, long-term initiatives, points of notice, or areas marked for trials matching the focus areas and desired outcomes in the Elevate strategy, like adding in extra mobility lanes, activating spaces for street-based entertainment, cultural artwork installations, or biodiversity and beautification programs. All these ideas can benefit the community if cleverly researched and pitched. It takes brave decision making and funding, and a peak design coordination unit which is strictly bipartisan will know how to deliver these brave projects and maintain long-term continuity for a strong, inclusive Brisbane identity and legacy.